Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, yesterday I saw some articles about the Little Mermaid. Apparently, they have cast an African American girl to play the role of Ariel the mermaid in the Little Mermaid. And this has caused a lot of controversy. You have a lot of white racists who have been complaining about this, basically saying that Ariel should be white, because she's known as a white character. She's white, she has red hair, she's cute, and all that kind of stuff, basically suggesting that a black girl can't play that role because that's all they know. They know Ariel is white. And also, you had some people saying, well, this story is a European story, it's a European fairy tale. It was made in Denmark. It comes from a European history. The original character was white. Why are you messing it up and changing this character into a black character? So you have these people complaining. And then you also have these people going so far as to try to use science to explain their racism. You got these people saying, well, mermaids can't possibly be black. I mean, you have to understand like how ridiculous that is. First of all, a mermaid is not even real. A mermaid is a mythical character, but yet and still you have these people trying to use science to explain why a black girl couldn't be a mermaid or why a mermaid couldn't be black. They were basically saying, well, creatures under the sea are away from the sunlight, so they can't get melanated, so they wouldn't evolve to the point where they would develop dark skin and all this and that. So that was the argument that you had these people try to use to justify this nonsense, to justify their hostility, to justify their racism. And it's just absolutely ridiculous, man. I mean, the fact that these people will be whining and crying over one character just shows you how fragile, whiteness is. This myth of white supremacy is so fragile. They feel threatened by anything. Here you have one character. Here we live in a world where whiteness is constantly promoted, and these people are whining and complaining because one fictional character has been changed to an extent where you have a black girl playing this particular character. I think this is crazy. Here we are in a society that's all white everything. Kids open their books and they're reading their fairy tales and they're reading about all these white princesses and all these white knights in shining armor and all these white male superheroes and all this stuff. They open their wallets. We open our wallets. And when we take out our money, we see white faces. All white everything, and you have these people whining and complaining because one character, a fictional character at that, has been depicted as white. These are the same people that have no problem whitewashing black history, for instance. Changing the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, changing Kemet into a white civilization. They have no problem whitewashing all that. They have no problem taking black music and making it white. Stealing black music, stealing the music from the blues artists, for instance, and claiming it as rock and roll. Like, for instance, you got Elvis, literally stealing black music and claiming it as his own. And then you had these white people putting this label on it and saying this is rock and roll. We invented white people invented rock and roll. These people have misappropriated all types of cultures, adopted it as their own and claimed it as their own, whitewashed history, and they have the nerve and the audacity to complain about a single character in a cartoon. I mean, this is absurd. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I think that it's about time that Disney have more diversity in its casting and in its characters. Disney is all white everything. A lot of our young people, our young girls and stuff like that, are indoctrinated to worship whiteness. All the fairy tales, all the images are white princesses. I mean, our little girls want to, watch cartoons and read about fairy tales. And when they do so, they're bombarded with all these white images, telling them that white is right. you know, on a subliminal level, telling them that long, straight hair is what is beautiful, telling them basically that light skin is what's beautiful, with stories like Snow White, stories like Rapunzel and stuff like that, indoctrinating our young girls to worship whiteness. Just imagine the damage that that's doing on the minds of our young people. And you got these white people having the nerve to complain about a single character being depicted as white. I mean, as black. Complaining about a single character being depicted as black in this sea of whiteness, in this sea that teaches our people to worship whiteness. Man, they complaining about one black character. Absurd. And then you have like young black boys also being indoctrinated to worship whiteness. Most of the prominent superheroes are depicted as white, whether we're talking about Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, all these white male characters that our young boys have been taught to look up to by, you know, when they read the comic books, when they watch the movies and stuff like that. And when you have one strong black superhero, all these people started complaining about it being racist. When they had the Black Panther movie, you got people complaining about it being racist. And then you got some silly Negroes complaining about it as well. And that's, you know, that reminds me, like one of the people complaining, like I saw all these tweets in this article, and I'll post the links to these two particular articles in the description box, you know, so that you could check it out. But in one of the articles, you got a black girl complaining about this as well, complaining that, you know, this character is white, like, why did they feel the need to make her white and all that kind of stuff? That just shows you how brainwashed a lot of our people are. And the fact that you have these people so steeped in racism that they have to go to science, you know, make up science, use pseudoscience to explain and justify their hatred and their animosity, just shows you how demented these people are. You know, talking about a mermaid couldn't possibly be black because, you know, it's underwater and it's not exposed to the sunlight and won't get melanated. There's no need to be melanated under the sea. I mean, first of all, mermaids don't exist, period. So it's like, why are you trying to use science to explain or to justify something that doesn't even exist? Then a second thing is, this is nothing new. This type of racism is nothing new. We know that for years, white supremacists have tried to use science to say that black people are less intelligent, that we are less evolved, that we are subhuman. They've used this for a long time, that we're prone to criminality based on genetics. This is what these people do. This is what racism looks like. And you had some of these people actually saying that it was racist to cast this black girl as Ariel. Actually saying that that's racist. Clearly, these people don't understand what racism is. Racism is black people being disproportionately targeted and incarcerated, facing disproportionate sentences. That's what racism looks like. Racism looks like black men being targeted by the police for racial profiling and police brutality. Black men making up only 6% of the population, but yet 40% of the unarmed people killed by these police. That's what racism looks like. Racism looks like black people not having nowhere near as much wealth as white people have. You know, that's what racism looks like. Racism looks like black people being forced to go to schools with less resources, failing schools with less resources, less facilities, less equipment, less books, less everything. That's what racism looks like, man. And you got these people complaining about some cartoon, complaining about a single black actor taking on a role that was formerly a white character. This is absurd. Racism looks like black people being denied job opportunities, black people being disproportionately unemployed. That's what racism looks like, man. And you got these people whining about this character. Anyway, tell me what y'all think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Hit that notification bell so that you know when I post new content. And you can also support this channel by hitting the PayPal link. I'll post a link in the description box at my earliest convenience. Also, I'll post links to the articles that I referenced in this video. Tell me what you think. Peace and blessings, everyone. Have a great Friday.